Hello, amazing souls. Welcome. Today, I want to take us further into the news reporting from last video. We're operating from the subconscious mind. We're operating from a state of theta. How is this unfolding, showing up? And I do want to note before we actually move into the next topic that I don't want to influence, I don't want to inspire. Strictly, I want to report from a very objective, which is my perspective, what's going on. And the sharing is very important because, yes, it's so interesting the lens from each we experience this and the notes that we're exchanging, but that influence, that exchange of inspiration, we have to be very careful with, because the state that we are in, the self-centeredness, is the most important to upheld during this time. So, okay, having said that, the topic of this next layer within this field is that this exchange of giving and receiving has collapsed. We're clearly in the next layer within the unity field, where this reciprocal polarity no longer holds true. So the suffering and the what the heck is going on that we're experiencing is only from the frameworks, the old models that we have built within this exchange of giving and receiving. Those are literally uninstalling from our perception. And those frameworks, they're individual, they're collective, because what's interesting, what I'm realizing just recently is that we've been in this radiance, in this unity. This is nothing new. But we've been still operating very much so within this framework of I give, I receive, I offer, I'm being met. And so my expectancy that others, the environment, the matrix, the outer is still my reflection. But now, collectively, we have put so much work into that, where even those frameworks are now literally uninstalling, and those reflections of who I am, my behaviors, they're not coming back anymore because they're no longer needed. Simply put, we're coming into a knowing of the self where that model of service is no longer necessary. And there's a suffering that goes with that, right? Because it's harsh. It just feels like we're putting ourselves out there more and more from authenticity, more and more in transparency, and it feels like we are not being met at all. It's like we're sent into questioning of our values. We are being sent into questioning of what's going on at a very fundamental level, because it just feels like there's nobody out there, right? It feels like we are not being understood. We are not being felt. We are not being seen, which then puts us into a very harsh rejection many times, right? Like we are simply rejected if we are not being met. Then that rejection puts us boldly into this aloneness, not necessarily a loneliness, but it feels like we are so separate from everything that we've known from this exchange. So here is the beauty of this, because there's so much beauty. And I know you're comfortable in this beauty. Yet the questioning is still pulling on you, right? So this is my clarity that I'm bringing in, is that this beautiful silo of the self is just stabilizing in this new flow, because we are in this flow. We are in unity. We are in this completely new space. However, this space is so self, effortless, beautiful, easy. It is so simple. It just takes a little stabilizing. And we're practicing this stabilizing. So the more you can relax in the confidence, in the knowing, and not compare yourself to others, and not look at somebody else, because the pulling is still strong. So there's days when it's like, dang it, I'm just being pulled, and then you're peeking over there and you see this person, and whatever they're doing, it's really working for them. And then you might feel like inspired by them, and you're trying to mimic or do what it is that they're doing. But you're quickly noticing that whenever you're trying to do what works for others, the suffering is even greater, or it's even more so collapsing what it is that you're trying to do, and you're coming back to you. And so you're also noticing that, sure, you are lonely maybe, but somehow you're actually not feeling alone when you're allowing that space within yourself, right? You're noticing that you're giving love, and that love is not being met, is not being received. Maybe it's even almost feels like it's kind of being rejected. But you're also noticing that no matter what, you're not fully being depleted. You have this unlimited resourcefulness of more and more love. You might notice that you're creating, however it is that you're creating, and you're so not caring how it's landing and how your feedback is coming back, or whether there is any feedback, because in the more of your own creation, the clarity has never been clearer before. So you see what I'm saying, like, even the way how you're interacting with people might be drawn to you in a different way. They're interacting in a way different way than before. And so it's not that things are not moving and things are static and things are whatever. I don't know. I don't want to say dead, because there's a lot of movement, but you might feel like you're not necessarily 100% moving forward. And the reason is it's this questioning. It is this comparing, because I feel that we are in the flow. The more you are in your silo of self-centeredness, the more you are in the flow. But that flow looks very, very different from person to person. So you cannot look to the other person and expect that person to mirror you back. That is over. The only thing you have is the self-leadership, self-centeredness, self-centeredness, and the self-inspiration. When you feel that pull to question and to want your energetic match, your emotional match, a physical exchange, that's when you're slowing that flow down all the way to the point of stopping your inner flow. So that's the difference now. You're already moving without effort versus before you literally had to, it's like a Reiki. You had to let something go to receive something new. You had to literally be in this exchange. You had to constantly be alchemizing. You had to literally die. Let a piece of you die for to make room for this new you to unfold within you. You are now literally interacting with source. You are in the flow of life force itself. That is your new exchange. And I'm using, because I don't know what other, it's language again, right? Yes, I'm using exchange, but it's not exchange as in giving and receiving. It is exchange as in radiance. I am radiating within the field. There is no flow. There is no physical, tangible flow. That is old exchange, giving and receiving. This exchange flow is within the radiance of being within unlimitedness. I no longer have to sacrifice pieces of me. I no longer have to choose A and B. I can have A and B and still move towards C. I can maintain what I have and still want more and move towards more. Does that make sense? It is a completely different way of moving about. It is a freedom that we are integrating right now that we are not used to. And the beauty, the mind blowingness, it is erotic. It's always erotic. It is, oh my God. And so this is the invitation. The work, if you want to still look at something, is to pay attention. Where is the pull within yourself that is looking for an exchange? And that exchange can look energetic, very mental, very emotional, very physical as well. I deserve this, whatever. I don't even know, whatever. So that's my invitation for you, for me. Let's play. Thank you so much.